C4 grill will fire up. Ooh. We have a oil min light on in the Lambo. Should probably fix that. Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Today is Saturday, middle of winter, and it's very, very nice outside, so I figured let's pull out the Huracan today and go enjoy it. Put your seatbelt on, bud. Let's see about adding some oil to this thing. I'll be honest, I ain't never done it. I don't even know where it goes. Where's the dipstick? Where's the filler neck? I don't see the filler or the dipstick anywhere. I have a feeling it's gonna be underneath this cover. Ta-da! Here's the fill, but where's the dipstick? That's kind of cool. The dipstick is on the filler cap. Not gonna lie, I was a little bit worried that this thing was burning oil when that oil light came on, but I only had to add less than half a quart of oil until it was maxed out, and then I found this online. Page 290 of the owner's manual, oil consumption may reach 0.13 gallons every 620 miles. These things kind of eat some oil. All right, let's have a quick little discussion about this thing. So this is the NSX. I was working on it for the last, I don't know, probably a month and a half, 2 months. And as you guys know, we had a encounter with some pretty questionable repairs. Frame repair, structural, the word I can't say, repair. That definitely threw a wrench in the building process of this car, which if you guys don't know what's going on, let me show you the build real quick. This is a 91 NA1 NSX that I decided to pull out the factory motor and put in a K-series. So pretty much from this pillar backwards is all restored. It's all mint, good to go. Of course, we had some finishing touches to do, but then I bumped into some issues up here. A-pillar's pushed in, it's creased right here. Strut tower's moved, frame rail's bent, firewall is creased. Things of that nature. The options on this car were as follows. Number one, scrap the project. I didn't want to do that because it is a rare car. Somehow it's still a clean title car. Don't really know how. Low mileage, hard to find car. So I didn't want to scrap it, not to mention we've already put a ton of money and work into the car. Option two, find another wrecked NSX, preferably in the back, and take parts off of the wrecked NSX and put them on our wrecked NSX and kind of combine the two cars. Similar to what we did with the blue Evo 10 like half a year ago maybe. Option three is try and source parts. And that was the option I went with. So here's the deal. Parts for this car you cannot get here in the States, at least from what I could find and could understand from talking to multiple people. So I had to go straight to the source. I had to buy a frame rail and what is called a uniside from Japan, and that's a few month process. I already ordered the parts. So how this works is I bought the parts, wired them the money. It was around $5,300, I wanna say. So it wasn't terrible. That is including shipping. Now they take the parts, they put them on a container, they ship them by sea, and they end up in a port in Seattle. I live in Spokane. Seattle's about 5 hours away. So when they land in Seattle, I have to drive out to Seattle, pick up the parts and bring them back home, which isn't a big deal. More than willing to do that. But that's the update on the NSX. So we're gonna be replacing the frame rail, this headlight bucket, the strut tower, and then, like I said, they call it a uniside, which pretty much entails from this pillar all the way up here to this pillar here, right to that seam right there. The roof does have to come off. Not a big deal, I guess you could say. I mean, it's gonna be a lot of work. This is gonna be probably a month-long process just to do these repairs. So to make it simplified, from this seam right here up to the roof, all the way to right here, That's all getting replaced. Now the firewall, it is creased and buckled just a little bit. That can be repaired, so we are going to repair that because trying to import a firewall is difficult. The floorboard seemed fine. Everything else seems fine. That side is untouched. The back is untouched. It's all factory there as far as metalwork goes. I really wanted to repair this thing right. Obviously, the previous person or shop or whoever tried to work on this thing didn't do it right. This is pushed away and that frame rail is bent. A lot of janky stuff happened when they fixed this car. Somehow this thing drove phenomenally straight. Bobby and I drove it. The day after we bought it, we drove it down to Las Vegas. And then we came north to Utah, decided to go back down to Southern California. We put thousands of miles on this car without any issue, really. And it drove phenomenally straight. They definitely hid the damage quite well. I know a lot of you guys have been asking as to what is going on with the NSX. That's the update. Simply just waiting on parts. When the parts are a little bit closer to arriving here in the States, I do need to go ahead and disassemble this whole shell. Get that frame rail off, get the uniside off, and get this thing ready for the new parts to go on. Hopefully that clears that up. I'm excited to continue on with this build. I did heavily debate scrapping it and just finding a complete different NSX to put all of our parts on. But I'm already deep into this thing, man. I'm already forming that connection, that bond with this project. So I don't want to give up. I need to finish the Supra. Maybe a month ago now, I painted the hood for the car. Did an absolutely atrocious paint job on it. So I'm gonna attempt to fix my paint job today with wet sanding and polishing. I think it should be fixable. We do have 3 coats of nice thick coats of clear on it. So I should be able to wet sand out all the dirt. If you guys didn't see the video, what happened was I painted it. We were in the old shop right next door. I opened the garage door to let all the clear, evaporate so it doesn't go all over the shop. And all the dirt from the shop door landed on the hood, and this is how it looks. Might be kind of hard to see on the camera, but it's probably not hard to see on the camera because it looks atrocious. We're gonna go ahead, clean it, and I'm gonna flat sand the whole entire hood with 1500 grit. And then hopefully from there, if I don't burn through it all, step it to 2000, 3000, polish, get back on the car. Well, a little slight change of plans. As you can see, this thing is fully sanded down, and you can also see I got my paint suit on. I didn't burn through, but that thing had multiple issues, a lot of dirt and a lot of, I think it was solvent pop, like little divots, little holes in the paint. So I decided to block it out with 800, and I'm gonna go ahead and re-clear it. Let's go ahead and re-clear it. This is gonna make life a whole lot easier, and I have a feeling I would have eventually burned through trying to make that paint perfect. So I'm gonna add 2 more coats of clear, and it's gonna be perfect. All right, hopefully this goes smooth, and it turns out at least 100,000 times better than the last paint job. Now look, I'm painting outside. I'm not expecting perfection, but what I am expecting is a better base to work from. If there's, say, 10 pieces of dirt, we got a D-nib, that's much better. That first coat, man, if the second coat lays out like this, we are in luck. It is obviously a bit cold outside, so I'm gonna give it a little bit extra time. We can go ahead and slap down a second coat of clear, pull it in the shop, let it cure up overnight, and get it on the car hopefully tomorrow. Now, I don't know how one gets runs on a flat surface like a hood, but your boy Devin got a run on his hood. Little guy right up in here. That's so easy to take care of. I could probably take care of that in 10 seconds. Look at the finish on this thing, man. There's like 4 pieces of dirt in it. I'm excited to wet sand and polish this. I'm giving it some extra time in between these 2 coats because it's cold outside. The metal probably got pretty cold while it sat outside when I was painting it. So I decided to pull it in here so I can get this done a little bit quicker. Obviously, I don't want to paint in the shop. Look at that finish, man. Now on the second coat, a few more pieces of dirt, of course, landed on it. I would say we probably have 100 times less dirt in it now than before. This thing we can make perfect for the Supra in probably 30 minutes. With that being said, I'm gonna let it sit overnight. I'll pick this back up tomorrow, and hopefully that thing will be cured enough to denib, polish, and install on the Supra. All right, guys, it's about 20 hours later, and this thing is plenty hard enough to go ahead and wet sand. The texture on it is perfect, so I don't need to worry about that. There's no sort of orange peel or anything, very nice and flat. So we just need to worry about the dirt, and then we can give it a nice polish and get her installed. This thing is fully sanded down. Let me walk you through the steps that I took to get it perfect. So I started out, let me organize these. 1500 grit is what I started out with to denib it, which means pull out the dirt of the paint. So 1500 on a block, something like this works great. And then I stepped it up to 2000 grit. I 2000 the whole entire hood just to pull out any tiny bit of orange peel that there was. Decided to make it perfect. So 2000 grit Mirka disc, and then finished it off with 3000 from 3M. This is a Trizac foam disc, and both 2000 and 3000 on the DA. Now the fun part, we get to go ahead and get this thing fully polished. I'm debating not putting it on the car yet just because it's a heavy hood. I'm used to all the other hoods here either being carbon or aluminum. This thing is straight steel, very heavy, and I don't want to damage the hood or possibly a fender. So let's go get this thing polished while it's off the car, just so we don't spray compound on the rest of the car. See how it looks, and we can get it on the car when I have some help. That's the disadvantage of being here alone now. I used to have Remy next door. I don't anymore. I used to have Jared in this shop, and I don't anymore. And Bobby is at home like 20 miles away. Well, if that didn't turn out absolutely beautiful, this thing is so freaking nice. One little defect right here. When I got to the shop this morning, there was a fly chilling in the clear coat. I could probably get away with wet sanding it a little bit more, but the risk to reward ratio, it's not in my favor. If I sand through that clear again and have to repaint this for the 3rd time, I will not be happy. So that one tiny little defect, I'm fine with. I will be completely fine with that. I wish I could say the rest of the car was this nice, but it's paint from 1994. That is paint from a few hours ago. This car is nice, but this is perfect. Let's get it on the car.
Except for my pinky toe.
I'm gonna laugh and jump on the camera. Hood is back on, headlights are installed. This thing is finally complete once again. The Supra is back, better than ever. So happy that we finally got this hood dealt with. This thing was just hanging in the corner of the shop for like a month because I did not want to deal with that nasty paint job. Now all this thing needs is some new wheels. I don't like that carbon Kevlar front lip, so I'm gonna replace that. Probably tint the windows. And looks wise, that's about it. I love the stock body of the Supra. I think I like the TRD wing more, so I might do that in the future. And then of course, it'd be nice to make this thing a little bit quicker, sound a little bit better, because it's quite boring to drive.